Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you're watching me today, my name is Peter. Welcome back to Invest with Peter. So, if you see me for the first time, please subscribe to the channel, like, and put your comment down below. I will be talking about recession. People mention a recession. Now, in a recession, or this is a recession, and what is a recession? What are the indicators of a recession and all that? I will be discussing that today, and my plan, what I'm going to be doing, and what I'm probably doing at this point. And I'll be going into that in details. If you can wait till the end of this video. So, some people are asking, Peter, why are you not doing live? Why are you not doing this? I can't do live because on YouTube, you must have 1,000 subscribers before you start going live. So if you can help me by subscribing, maybe you get me there and I'll start going live and doing TA and all that stuff on YouTube for you guys that are requesting me to go in live. So that's it. It's not me, it's the YouTube. So that's the specifications that you have to, and all the criteria you have to meet up before you start doing live. So without putting about the bush, I'll be showing you the videos of Jerome Powell, why he thinks we're not in a recession, and Joe Biden, he actually said he didn't believe we're in a recession, and Janet Yellen that said, well, this is not a recession. I'll be putting those clips in this video, and I hope you just wait around and just see what they've got to say. So now, what is a recession? A recession, according to the U.S. Economic Institute, said it's a significant decline in economic activity that is spread across, the economy and lasts for a couple of months. All right. So if you understand that definition, and what are the causes of a recession? All right. The first thing is overheated economy. We have overheated economy. We have black swan scenario or black swan events, and we also have asset bubble. So what is probably happening now is overheated economy. Overheated economy is the problem where a country faces when the demand is higher than the supply. Right, when people are, because Fed have pumped a lot of money into the economy, and people have so much money to spend, and people are buying this, left and right, they're buying stuff, but the supply is quite limited. So that's why we're facing what we're facing now. They're saying we're not in a recession, but the GDP that came out the other day states we are in a technical recession. Okay, so that's the first definition of overheated economy that leads to a recession. So the second one is a black swan event. Black swan event is something that you cannot control. All right, 2020, the world had COVID-19, and straight away stock market went down 40% within a couple of days, and everybody was like, whoa, is this gonna wipe everybody out? So it took out people, and it went down 40%, and a couple of weeks, I think within a month, we got back to where we were before. So that's a black swan event. And the issue of Ukraine and Russia is also a black event. So if any sudden event happen that affects, or that's probably going to affect the economy, then expect the labor market and the stock market go down drastically and leads to a drastic and a sharp recession. That's a black swan. So the other one is asset bubble. This is a typical example of what happened in year 2000, year 2000.com bubble, where everybody's bringing out SPAC left and right. People are just investing in what is not real. The SPAC starts springing up, and people start putting money in what is not. So as a result of that, the bubble burst and everybody lost money. So many companies were wiped out. People's life were destroyed. Some people jump from high-story building and all that stuff because they've lost it all. So there is a situation of asset bubble when there's so many money in the economy and so much money in investment and all that stuff. So the bubble busted, everybody was wiped out. That's the third scenario of a recession. So let's talk about the what's happening now. US actually is experiencing, we can say, a technical recession, but the politicians are not ready to admit that we are in a recession. So first of all, let's listen to Jerome Powell, what he's got to say.
I do not think the U.S. is currently in a recession. And the reason is there are just too many areas of the economy that are performing, too well. And of course, I would point to the labor market in particular. As I mentioned, it's true that growth is slowing, and for reasons that we understand. Really, the growth was extraordinarily high last year, 5.5%. We would have expected growth to slow. There's also more slowing going on now. But if you look at the labor market, you've got growth. I think payroll jobs averaging 450,000 per month. That's a remarkably strong level for this state of affairs. the unemployment rate at near a 50-year low at 3.6%. All of the wage measures that we track are running very strong. So this is a very strong labor market, and it's just not consistent with, 2.7 million people hired in the first half of the year. It doesn't make sense that the economy would be in recession with this kind of thing happening. So I don't think the U.S. economy is in.
All right, guys, you just heard what he said. Well, let's go back again. Since how long U.S. has been experiencing recession, right? This is dated back to 1857, and the U.S. has gone through up to, no more than 30 recession, right? So, but at this point, right, the Fed is trying to engineer a soft landing, right, by trying to avoid recession. So by doing that, they were trying to bring the demand down by raising rate, by hiking the rate. But doing this, if they're not careful, it's going to send the economy into recession. But they are being precisely careful, raising the rate to fight the inflation, and, to curb the inflation and without pushing the economy into a recession. So these are the things they're trying to do at this point, but they're not ready. So I want you to listen to Joe Biden and what he's got to say.
Let me speak to one other issue, the GDP, and whether or not we are in a recession. Both Chairman Powell and many of the significant banking personnel and economists say we're not in a recession. But let me just give you what the facts are in terms of the state of the economy. Number one, we have a record job market of record unemployment of 3.6% today. We've created 9 million new jobs so far, just since I became president. Businesses are investing in America at record rates, Foreign business like SK and others are investing in America, hundreds of millions and trillions of dollars, sum total. $100 billion in semiconductor investments already announced by Intel, Samsung, and Texas Instruments. More than $100 billion in electric vehicle battery investments by Ford, General Motors, Hyundai, Tesla, and more. And just last week, as I said, SK Corporation of the Republic of Korea announced $22 billion in new investment in semiconductor batteries, chargers, and medical devices, creating another 16,000 jobs here in America. And this is powering the strongest rebound in American manufacturing in over 3 decades, creating 613,000 manufacturing jobs. Passing the CHIPS bill is going to put another $72 billion for incentives and tax credits to expand semiconductor production. And the Inflation Reduction Act will add another $370 billion in clean energy tax credits in reconciliation, including incentives to accelerate domestic production of solar panels, wind turbines, batteries, and critical materials processing. That doesn't sound like a recession to me.
Hey guys, so now you've heard what he said. I'm not going to comment. I'm not going to say anything about that. But let's move on to the recession indicators. What are the things that tells us we are in a recession or we are probably going into a recession? The first one is yield curve inversion. For a couple of months we've been saying that the 10-year yield has inverted, right? So the yield curve inversion is when people expect bond market, expect the interest rate to be higher, in the short term rather than the long term. You can Google this as well or use Investopedia to see the meaning of what I'm talking about. So I don't want to dwell much on that because I want it to be brief and precise. And though I don't want to drag this video to up to more than 10 minutes. So another one is ISM index. What is ISM index? It's a ISM manufacturing index. I can't get my words out. So on the chart, it must not be above 50, right? This is the typical experienced investor that will understand what I'm talking about. So this cannot be more than 50. So when it's lower than 50 on the chart, then that indicates a recession. So, and also the last one is consumer confidence. So when people are starting, stop buying stuff, keeping their money, stop taking on loans and all that stuff, which is where we are going now, because the Feds are trying to control or to manage the inflation. So by destroying the demand, right? Because there's so much money out there to be spent. So consumers are buying stuff and further trying to destroy the demand, because that's how you can bring the inflation back down, equate it down like that. So consumer confidence, if consumer confidence is not there, when people are not buying stuff, people are restricted, and that's what happened as is happening at this point now. People have stopped buying houses. People have stopped people have stopped investing their money in some big items and all that stuff. So people are not taking on loans and all that stuff. So this is what also leads to a recession, because there's not much money or enough money in the economy, which leads to a recession. So now, this all we're going through now, but Janet Yellen still believe we're not in a recession. The economy is doing fine. That's what she said, and that the labor market is actually doing well as well. So I want you to watch.
Economists and most Americans have a similar definition of recession: substantial job losses and mass layoffs, businesses shutting down, private sector activities slowing considerably, family budgets under immense strain, in sum, a broad-based weakening of our economy. That is not what we're seeing right now when you look at the economy. Job creation is continuing. Household finances remain strong. Consumers are spending and businesses are growing. In the last 3 months, our economy has created over 1.1 million jobs. In the 3 months beginning each modern recession outside of the pandemic, our economy lost 240,000 jobs on average. Spending by businesses and consumers, the core of our economic activity, rose by 3% in the first quarter of this year and continued to expand in the second.
Okay, you've heard what Janet Yellen said. So what am I going to be doing, and what I'll probably advise you to be doing at this point is, the market is, booming, green, everything is up now. Tesla up, Amazon up, Apple up, all these big companies are up. And some of them didn't even report, good earnings and all that stuff. But everybody's buying because market is thinking, maybe we've hit the bottom, and people are buying in, and the stock is going up. The more people buy, the higher the stock goes. But I'm not going to be jumping into this FOMO, because I believe this is a FOMO, fear of missing out. People think we've hit the bottom. I don't think so, because the economy now, they are politicians, they are talking this and that. Jerome Powell, Yellen, they think they are independent of politics, but they are not. They work with these people, they're politicians. You don't expect them to come out and say economy is in a recession. They would never say that. And also, the midterm election is November. Democrats cannot afford to lose the election. I think they're losing it, but they can't afford to lose the election. So they're doing all they can to prevent, the recession, and probably managing the recession at this point. So as for me, I'm not going to be jumping in. I'll be keeping some money aside, building my cash position. And when I see the opportunity, I'm going to be taking it in stocks and in cryptocurrency. So Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, I'm looking at them, and I'm looking at my precise price I want to be buying in. I'm not going to be jumping in. I have some stocks, that I've bought, but I will be building up my cash positions, because if we go into recession lasts 6 to 18 months. So you want to be buying dollar cost averaging into those months until we come out of recession, which people believe if it doesn't happen this year, early 2023, the economy will be in a recession, and which is going to bring opportunity for people. Though it's not really good, it's not something anybody pray for, because in recession, people lose their job, they lose their finance, they lose their life savings and all that stuff. But money are made and millionaires are made during a recession. So if you're wise now, you won't be jumping in at this point, because I believe we have not actually reached the bottom. The bottom is still deep. So if your dollar cost average down, by the time the curve comes up, you'll be smiling and you'll be happy. Well, I've come to the end of it today. US economy is not in a recession. That's what the politician says. I didn't say that. They believe it's not in a recession. Some analysts believe we're not in a recession, but we're in a technical recession. But I think we're probably heading towards a recession. So I'll be keeping my finance, my resources and I'll be watching on the side, dollar cost averaging into all this. Thank you very much. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.